So in this video I'm going to try to draw something which is mirrored along a line of symmetry. This could be used for drawing any object which has got a repeating pattern, or something like a car where you've got a point of symmetry down the centre, or a picture of a satellite, or some sort of aeroplane. So what I'm going to start off with doing is just draw a simple work plane, and I'll try and draw it in perspective so it's slightly smaller at the back than it is at the front. Okay, just like that. So it's ever so slightly smaller there than it is here. The next thing that I'm going to do is just start off by drawing a object here. So it could just be a rectangular shape, like that. And then I'm going to draw a mirror line here. So if we assume here that this is my mirror, and the mirror line is going to be used as a point of reflection. Now, just to make sure we find the centre of this object, I'm just going to draw a crisscross line, really faint. Doesn't even need to be the full view. Okay, like that. So I've got one central line this way. Now, if I've got my mirror line here, which is going to act as the line of symmetry to put this rectangular box over at that side, what I'm going to do is think about where these points will be on this plane after they've been reflected. So the distance between here and the mirror, that's the crucial distance. So that distance from here to here needs to be moved over to there. The distance from here to here needs moving to there. To do that, I'm going to use this as a starting point. I'm going to draw one line which goes from this point through this point over to here. So at that point there, following down, is going to represent this line reflected over there. So I'll put that in first. I'm just going to try and keep these lines roughly parallel. The next line I'm going to reflect is the one from this point through the centre here over to here. So to do that, I always like to turn the page, one line through here, and then my line of reflection is going to come down here. So looks a little bit messy at the moment, so to tidy it up a bit, I'm going to have this one rectangular box. And that has been reflected through our mirror line. Okay, to there. If I was going to think about turning it into some sort of form, not necessarily an object, but something that maybe makes a little bit more sense, I'm just going to draw a couple of lines just down here. And just so you can see where the parts are, I'm just going to put a little bit of ink just along here. So don't overthink it, just work quickly. So now I've got my two rectangular shapes that have been reflected through this point here. If I was to tidy up this line here now, what I could do is start to just join up some points, and you'll see how a thing called foreshortening happens, where you can see that the angle, the length from that point to that point is quite short, but the same shape here, okay, works out to be a different length. So this line is really long, this line is really short, but it looks correct in the perspective I've drawn because we've used this line of symmetry and moved this object through that over to there, and pretty much any shape that you draw. So it could be like a fighter plane, it could be a satellite, it could be a part of a car that's got a central stripe. As long as you use this same method of mirroring from one side to the other through the central point, then your symmetry will be correct and the shapes will get smaller as they go into the background. So I'll just finish off this line here and then coming down there. I'll just put a bit of marker on just so you can see how it looks. It might just make it stand out a little bit. So this isn't an object, it's just to demonstrate the way that the line of symmetry works. We're putting our line through the central point. Okay, if I was to think of another thing to do, I'll just do a real quick one now. Do exactly the same. So my mirror line here. Just going to keep this one a bit faster. Central point there to there. And it's this distance here which was key. So I'm going to draw a line that goes from here through to there. From there through. And then come straight down. Straight down there. And then it's got exactly the same. You can see how fast it is once you just had a bit of practice and worked out which lines you're reflecting. So remember, this is not an object, it's not me showing you how to draw a picture of a satellite or anything like that. It really is just the theory behind how to reflect an object. The next thing, just to make it into something a little bit different, I'm going to start off by drawing my same lines coming down. Okay, so it's not a product, but it's explaining just how to mirror one object from one side to another using one line of symmetry. And the important thing is that you just realise that the distance between here and here is that distance. The distance between here and here is that one. And just to map that over from one side to the other, we just picked the central point of the mirror through the object as well, and then diagonally mapped it to end up with these 2 points. Then we can come down from that way there. Okay, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, write a comment, give me a tip on something to draw next, and I'll keep going. Hope these help during lockdown and lessons of isolation. Thank you very much.